This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. We come to you with breaking news. The coronavirus is claiming another victim today, oil. West Texas Intermediate, the U.S. benchmark, plunged to its lowest price in history today, $1.38 a barrel. Traders concerned about plunging demand for gasoline as millions of Americans wait out the pandemic at home saw WTI near-term futures tank a staggering 92% from about $18 a barrel to less than $2. That plunge, of course, could have dire consequences for the Kern County economy, which relies on oil not only for thousands of jobs, but for its property tax base as well. Oil pays for a substantial portion of county services, including law enforcement, roads, and parks. With demand at historical lows and supplies up, U.S. storage tanks are near their limit and refineries are not asking for more crude. The only good news on the horizon is OPEC's agreement with its oil-producing allies to cut production by 9.7 million barrels a day starting May 1st. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is streaming live every day at noon to give an update on the coronavirus here in our state. Today, he's providing an update for the state's response to the coronavirus. Let's take a listen in.
More acute and more foundational in terms of our ability to not just promote the promise of education during this time, but to actually deliver on it. I've been very proud of the work that many folks have done, from the superintendent of public education to the president of the state school board, Linda Darling-Hammond, both which are on the phone today. But I've also been very blessed by someone that I know very well, and that's my wife, the first partner of the state of California. She, in partnership with Tony Thurman, Linda Darling-Hammond, members of my team, Ben Cheetah and others, have been working hard over the last few weeks to build on the announcement we made a few weeks ago about those 100,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots that Google has committed to rolling out throughout the state of California, and the 4,000 Chromebooks that they made available, to build on the work that Apple has been doing in 800 school districts, 10,000 iPods that they have donated, and to do even more to meet the needs of millions of Californians that simply don't have access. Jen has been working the phones. She's had good days, like some of us. Some days haven't been as fruitful. Companies, large and small, individuals that have made small contributions, some large, and philanthropy and foundations, and a whole package that we wanted to roll out today that I think will shine a brighter light on our capacity to deliver, and moreover, I think reinforce the need, certainly, to do more. So with that in mind, let me introduce the first partner of the state of California, Jen Siebel Newsom.
So I am excited to be here today to help announce some fabulous commitments from the business and philanthropic communities to support distance learning and help close the digital divide for California students. Like so many parents across the state, I had a pit in my stomach in March when I watched our governor stand here and share that he told our daughter that she wouldn't be going back to school this spring. With 4 little ones ages 10 and under at home, 2 with diagnosed learning differences, distance learning has been a real challenge, to say the least. It can feel overwhelming every day to keep them on task and motivated to tackle their most daunting challenges, while balancing the daily demands of my own work, taking conference calls and Zoom meetings in between lesson plans and meltdowns, monitoring their progress and helping them work through math problems while trying to compose thoughtful emails or think through different work strategies given the new norm. Let's just say some days have been a major struggle. I'm constantly having to remind myself to breathe. But every day there are lessons where I learn something about them as individuals and us as a family. Most of the time, though, I'm having to remind myself to stay calm and carry on, no matter the stress and anxiety that comes my way. But of course, I know that as hard as this has been for me, it can only be that much harder for kids and families who do not have the same resources that we do. And I wouldn't give up the opportunity for distance learning for anything. To that, our family has pretty good internet access at home, despite my technical challenges. And we can access a treasure trove of free online resources available for our children's use. We have laptops for my older children, albeit one is on its last leg, and our home is a place where our kids can learn with full bellies and full hearts. But for too many California kids, this is simply not the case. In fact, 1 in 5 lack connectivity or an appropriate device for remote instruction. And as the first partner of California, I feel an incredible responsibility towards these kids and their parents who are doing everything that they can to keep their families housed and safe, and seeing to it that they have food on the table, all while ensuring their kids continue to learn. The fear these parents have that their children will fall behind without internet access and devices is very real. In fact, 2 weeks ago, a survey of parents found that 50% of low-income families and 42% of families of color in California are worried about distance learning because they don't have a personal device at home. So to all of these families, I want you to know that you've been on the governor's and my mind every day since this crisis started. And I want you to know that we have your back and will continue to fight for you. A few weeks ago, as the governor mentioned, he issued a call to action for companies to meet this moment and help close the digital divide, starting with a pledge from Google of 4,000 Chromebooks. In the weeks since, a few colleagues and I have reached out to countless individuals and companies asking them to dive deep into their pockets and see what they can do for California's most vulnerable students. I have been so moved by the generosity and the willingness to step up and help close the state's digital divide, when some of them have already maxed their giving across the country and around the world. Because of these commitments, hundreds of thousands of families will cross the digital divide, including 70,000 California students who will receive laptops, Chromebooks, and tablets starting this week. That means hundreds of thousands of California students can continue to learn online and become the leaders we know they are meant to be and that California needs them to be. So I want to give thanks to all of those who contributed to make this possible, and a special thanks to businesses like Sprint, T-Mobile, Amazon, HP, Verizon, and Zoom, along with tremendous gratitude for individual commitments from folks like Jack Dorsey, Ann and John Doerr, Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, Aaron Levy, Signe Ostby, and Scott Cook, Akiko and Jerry Yang, and so many others. We all know that education is fundamental to opportunity. And so our mission will not end until every child in California has what they need to continue learning while physically distanced. This pandemic should not stand in the way of California students reaching their potential and realizing their dreams. So once again, thank you to all of you who have stepped up and helped us create a culture of me to we in California. And I especially want to thank Linda Darling-Hammond, President of California's Board of Education, and Tony Thurman, our Superintendent, along with my Chief of Staff, Becky Beeland-McNaught, and Chief Deputy Cabinet Secretary for the Governor, Ben Chida, for their incredible support on this. And finally, I want to thank the 40 million Californians who are stepping up in tremendous ways to meet this moment. We know this time is incredibly challenging, but we will get through this together. Onwards, California. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And I want to again just thank the partnership and the teamwork that is demonstrable in not only the work that the first partner has done, but the Superintendent of Public Education and the State School Board, all of those individuals, and there are many others that we could have listed. I want to also express gratitude. This was a 2-week sprint.
The latest from Governor Gavin Newsom, and they are talking about distance learning right now. He did mention that 1 in 5 Californians lack the connectivity amongst students. So that is them connecting to Wi-Fi, having the technology in order to connect and do their homework. So 70,000 California students will receive Chromebooks and technology in the weeks to come as well to help bridge that gap. Now you can continue watching Governor Newsom's whole live stream on our Facebook page. Well, now to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. There are 652 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The latest update shows 22 people are in the hospital. That's more than 5 0.5% of all active cases. Meantime, 234 people have recovered from the virus. That's about 36% of the total cases. Now here's a look at testing that's been done here in Kern County. More than 4,600 people have tested negative. For the first time since April 5th, we saw a decline in pending tests. Bakersfield East, which includes areas of Arvin and Lamont, have 330 cases. That's more than any other region. Bakersfield West follows behind with 197. There are 80 in the Valley region and 18 in both the mountain and desert regions. Well, so when should the states reopen? There's a lot of disagreement about that. Several cities across the U.S. held protests this weekend calling for an end to stay-at-home orders. Many protesters divide social distancing restrictions, gathered in large groups without wearing any protective gear. They say the restrictions have crippled the economy and everyone needs to be able to get to work. Some health officials and governors, including Governor Newsom, say a lot more testing is needed before restrictions are eased. And that's the subject of 17's interactive poll. We've been asking, should police enforce social distancing measures? 70% of you said yes, 30% of you said no. Well, here's a look at some of your comments. One text commenter says, no, they should not. Our constitutional rights have already been violated enough. And Amy Marie says in part, yes, enforce it. People are becoming lazy about it. Do they realize that there is over 3,000 tests with pending results just here in Kern? That's half of what Los Angeles has. I doubt those people have stayed home to quarantine for the 14 days. Now, there is still time for you to weigh in. You can call or text 888-4617. Press 1 if you think police should enforce social distancing. Press 2 for no. You can also text, email, or Facebook your comments. We will keep this poll going all day long so you have a chance to make your voice heard. You can see the final results this evening. Well, Adventist Health Bakersfield is helping kids with vaccinations by offering free shots this month. Today, there will be a mobile immunization clinic available until 2 p.m. at the Adventist Health Bakersfield parking lot on Chester Avenue. You don't need to make an appointment, but you do need to bring your child's immunization card. Children under 5 will be given priority. If you can't make it today, there are still several other clinics happening this month. We have posted those details on our KGET website. And happening today, lanes will be closed down on Stockdale Highway now through Thursday so crews can work on potholes. This is happening on the 2 eastbound lanes and 1 westbound lane on Stockdale between Weeble Road and Real Road. The lanes will be shut down between 9 o'clock and 3:30 each day. Also beginning today, Stein Road and Dunlap Street will be closed around the clock for 3 weeks. Crews are working on a new bridge structure. Stay with us. 17 News is back after this.
Good afternoon. Taking a look at our forecast on this Monday. Looking outside, I see a little bit of sunshine. So we're getting that mix today. Some sun, some clouds, and we've seen some light showers. Not widespread, just in some isolated areas. 64 degrees right now in Arvin. So mild there with the cloud cover. And then we take you out near Wasco, and we've got some clouds, 63 degrees. And then up in the mountains, Golden Hills, 54 degrees and cloudy. Here's a look at temperatures around Kern County right now, running into the 60s in all of the valley. And then into the mountains, 50s and 60s. And out at Edwards, we're at 70 degrees right now, 69 in Ridgecrest. Here's a look at the satellite radar. Some moisture did push on through. Not really sure if that actually hit the ground. And all other areas, just looking at a little bit of cloud cover. I'm not looking at this to be a rainmaker as we go throughout the day. In fact, the moisture is kind of lifting north of us right now near the Fresno area, moved through Fresno. And so behind this is where we're going to get the clearing. So I think as we progress into the evening, we'll see more and more clearing, and tomorrow we're looking sunny. 59 in Sacramento today, 68 in Fresno, 67 in Los Angeles, 72 out of Vegas. And here's a look at the picture right now. We've got the weak low that'll push on through, then ridge of high pressure builds in behind it, and that's going to help to clear us out. It wants to try to bring in a light shower here or there, but I just don't think it's going to materialize much, and it will be isolated at best. For today, partly sunny, 68 in Bakersfield, 67 in Delano, 69 in Taft. So we'll be near 70. Yesterday, our high was 74 degrees. And then for the mountains, partly sunny, a breezy day. Wind advisory in place until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. 55 in Frazier Park, along with Tehachapi. 60s into the Kern River Valley. And then for the desert, 68 in Mojave. Winds gusting to 30 and a high of 77 in Ridgecrest. And then we take a look at the extended forecast. Tomorrow, sunny and 71. You can see the gradual warm up, and then by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be in the upper 80s. In fact, Saturday, we may even hit 90 degrees. We're going to watch the models carefully on that. Mountain forecast, sunny skies, but also windy tomorrow, 57. And then we warm you back up into the 70s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then for the Kern Valley, after a slight chance of a shower today, you can see that warm up in store. And by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we will be near 80 again. So overall, not a bad day, dealing with some clouds, some sun, and an isolated shower, and then all sunny after that. We'll be right back.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, United Airlines says it's lost $2 billion in the first quarter. The based airline says the loss came as the coronavirus pandemic drove travel demand to the lowest level in decades. The airline said it has a plan for up to $4.5 billion in government loans, on top of about $5 billion federal payroll grants and loans. United is the first major U.S. airline to detail the results of the virus for its first 3 months of the year. And Facebook is making a big push into gaming. The industry is seeing a huge boom in demand thanks to the coronavirus lockdowns. Today, the social media giant launched a dedicated mobile app called Facebook Gaming Worldwide. Users to create and watch live gameplay. The move sees Facebook taking on the likes of Amazon's Twitch, Google's YouTube, and Microsoft Mixers. Well, second only to what the coronavirus can do to our physical and mental health is the worry about what the harm is doing to our financial health. But on that count, there may not be much need to worry. Here's NBC's Chris Clackham.
With so many businesses closed because of COVID-19, consumer spending has taken a nosedive.
Even people that are still working and in a position to spend are reluctant to do so, simply because they just really don't know what's around the corner.
Greg McBride at Bankrate says they surveyed 2,500 Americans about spending and investing during the crisis and found over half dialing back on spending, but surprisingly staying the course on investing.
Despite a 30% drop in the stock market, about 2/3 of those that have investment accounts did not do anything with their stock-based investments.
Many still worry, however, what all this economic upheaval is doing to their credit rating. No need for that, though, according to Rod Griffin at Experian.
You don't have to worry about unemployment affecting your credit history or credit scores.
He says that's because the credit bureaus have launched crisis response plans to let lenders know your situation.
Especially if you're going through job loss or income reduction, to show that you're affected by COVID ID and that they're in forbearance or in deferment.
Protecting your credit during a crisis, just in case you need more of it. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Now, through all the craziness during this time, it is important to take a step back and be thankful for the simple things. What changes have been noticed since the stay-at-home order was put in place? That story after this. Welcome back. Robin Robinson with CityServe Kern sharing some positivity during this time.
Really day to day, not even knowing how things are going to change. But I can tell you that over the past 4 to 5 weeks, what I've seen just in a positive way is that people's priorities have changed and they have a lot more patience with one another. It's been amazing to be out there serving with people and seeing the amount of volunteers in our community that are signing up to help, to be a part of the answer. And I've just seen that they've changed their priorities, the priorities of busyness and those things, the priorities of family, because they've had time to be with their family, the priorities of faith. They've spent more time searching and looking and digging in and spending more time, focusing on their faith and the reliefs in the middle of all of this. We've seen those things rise. And then I've just seen, just being out and about, the patience of people has changed. Just in driving, or even though there may be less people on the road, you see a lot of courtesy. And the 2 Ps, priorities and patience, are 2 of the things that I have really seen change over the last few weeks, just so evidently in our community. Not that we didn't already have some of that, but it's been amazing just to see how people are treating each other, going far beyond to help each other and going that extra mile. It's just an amazing blessing to get to be part of where that service is taking place.
Now, as a pastor, I know that you, of course, you preach a lot, you talk to people a lot, but I know that as a pastor, you're also asking a lot of questions as well. What is one question, if you could ask one question to our community, what would that be?
Well, I think that question would be this: when this is all over, can we keep loving our neighbors? You know, this is such a big question because as you see it right now, if we continued without the coronavirus, living the way we are now, we would see our community flourish in ways we've never seen before. Again, we all know Bakersfield, Kern County is such an amazing place to live, but there is just a spirit right now, like I said, of just prioritizing people, and it's not about themselves. And this is what service is all about, Alex. It changes your perspective. It changes your outlook. It changes how you feel, even about yourself in the middle of something else, when you serve other people. 1 Peter 4:10, one of my favorite scriptures, says this. It says, "For God has given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another." And we've really been wired from birth to do that. It's a part of who we are. But I think it gets buried in the everyday busyness of our lives, the crazy stuff that swirls around, and especially, just life and how life can run like a rat race. But when things change, that's not always a horrible thing. It helps us to get a new perspective and a new opinion on how we look at life and the perspective of how we treat other people. Because that, in the end, is what matters the most. Living in a community where we have love and we have no divides. And we have seen that. We have just seen that in an amazing way over the last 4 or 5 weeks, Alex. It's been wonderful.
This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.